Yeah, at the end, obviously, it was a very unfortunate set of circumstances. Cédric, at the beginning of the third round, was trying to gesture to me that there's a problem, pointing in his foot. Obviously, at that point, I can see that there was no foul had taken place. If a foul had taken place, it allows me to stop the action and deal with something. If something illegal happened, accidental or not. This was in open play, as we call it. The fight was progressing. He was gesturing to me that there was a problem. And the rules are very clear. A fighter cannot, for obvious reasons, a fighter cannot call his own timeout. People are talking about you have timeouts all the time. Yes, we do, if a foul occurs. So if a poke in the eye, a groin shot, something like that, equipment malfunction, something, it was none of those things. I'm looking at what I believe to be, obviously in that moment, I believe to be potentially an injury to his foot, could have been his toe, his ankle, could have been anything. So I very clearly said to Cédric, look, please continue fight. Don't stop the fight. I think I told him maybe 4 separate times to continue to fight. And at that point, I'm, automatically I'm thinking, who's going to know that there's a splinter in someone's toe? That was the eventuality of what it was. I'm thinking that there was a potential injury caused to him. And as I say, the rules are very clear. A fighter cannot, they cannot avail themselves. They cannot call their own timeout for obvious reasons. Regardless of it being a hometown guy, I can't give any special reasoning or favours for fighters. It's very unfortunate.
So in this particular case, the rules that you apply is that a fighter can't stop a fight by himself.
Of course.
Those are the rules to apply in this moment?
Absolutely. A fighter cannot, for obvious reasons, because sometimes it's happened before. If a fighter gets hurt, and they go back, it's a potential fight-ending scenario, and so if a fighter does get hurt and they signal to the referee they're hurt, that's when we say to them, they can't, for obvious reasons, they can't call their own timeout because their opponent should lawfully be allowed to continue and attack them and potentially stop the fight. So it's a common sense thing, as to the reasons why fighters cannot call their own timeouts. And in almost 25 years of MMA, I always say be prepared for everything. That's an absolute first. That apparently it's turned out to be something that was stuck in his toe. Even if I'm stopping the fight to bring in a doctor, I'm going against the protocol. I'm going against the rules at that point for something that I perceive to be potentially a legitimate injury that was caused by fair play, not by foul.
So it was the first time you've seen something like that in the case. But if it does happen again, would you do the same?
I would have to, and people were talking about the language barrier. There is no language barrier. Cédric talks very good English. We have a conversation before the fight. I go and talk to him in the dressing room. It's normal for us to go to the locker rooms before the fight to talk to the fighters. There is no language barrier. Obviously, we're in the middle of a fight. We call it Sod's Law in England. It happens to be the main event, 17,000 people, loud. And he was telling me my foot. He's just pointing to his foot. And like I said, at that point, I can't, if I stop that fight there to examine it, I'm doing a disservice potentially to his opponent. And I'm going against what the rules and the protocols tell me. And I just can't do it. It's, I feel bad. It's made me sad. I'm annoyed by the situation, like I said, because it happened to be the main event. I'd feel bad for any fighter in that scenario, but I'm frustrated and I'm incredibly sad. I'm going to talk to the commission. If the commission wanted to look at it and have a discussion with me, they're the authority here. The French MMA Federation. That's who I'm working under here with PFL. And I'll have a conversation with the commission, and I know pretty much that they are feeling exactly the same way because no rules were broken. I did what I was supposed to do. And obviously in hindsight, which we don't have, you know, afterwards, when we find out at that point, was it something in his toe, etc. You know, how did it get there in his toe? There's a lot more circumstances around this that people don't know as well. I can tell you that much from a procedural point of view. You know, the fact of fighters making their way to the cage bare feet, etc. There's a lot more around it, but like I said, I want the commission to be able to do their thing and do their job. And, you know, like I said, I want to be fair all around. I'm very sad by this. Like I said, without repetition, big fight, main event. Unfortunate to say the very least.
So you already said that was the first time you see such an injury, but have you already seen similar case?
Well, it's not an injury, is it? It's not even it. That's what I don't understand. Look,
it's difficult to put words on that.
Yeah, I can't because I didn't understand. Obviously, Cédric is a super experienced guy in kickboxing. Obviously, MMA, he had a few fights, but a super experienced guy. I don't understand how, you know, when I was competing, I broke bones. You see fighters break bones all the time and all carry on in the fight. I didn't understand how if it was a potential splinter in his toe, how that was affecting him in the fight. That's what I can't quite understand. And obviously, you know, in the heat of the moment, in a main event, like I said, with an arena full of screaming people, no referees, oh,